their home for the SEC baseball tournament. Again, that all gets started tomorrow morning at 9:30. What time does baseball pregame start? Usually, 15 before? 9:15, usually 9:20?
Something like that.
Yeah, so you'll be able to hear Alabama baseball tomorrow morning. If they're able to get through there, they will play Wednesday morning at 9:30 when they take on Tennessee on Wednesday. There. But again, your action gets started in Hoover Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Your championship game of the SEC baseball tournament is slated to get underway on Sunday at 2 o'clock. So literally starts on Tuesday and goes all the way through Sunday. All the other action going on from over the weekend. There was a lot of college softball going on. We were talking about that on Saturday when we were live from University Key on Saturday when we shut down the whole system. But anyway.
And that was great, though. I mean, we that was one of our all-time shows from the standpoint of what we had to really go through to do the show, and it was great.
It was impressive.
So, it was very impressive. And Jonathan, over our good friend, I went to one of our other great sponsors. And
you showed me the pictures. Yeah, you sent the pictures of what you had Diner. For – yes.
And I told him, I said, Scott will tell you his version, but I'll tell you what, Scott turned the lights out in there. And then he turned them right back on.
I took down a car dealership's internet. With one plug. I took it all down.
He said, "That's awesome, man."
I took it all down.
I'm gonna call soon from the line. They're about to change I guess they're putting in some summer specials here, coming up at Metro Diner. So I went with one of the old faithfuls. I went with the the chicken tenders and the chicken and waffles. It was with the tenders. It was awesome. And they have actually outstanding cheese curds too, by the way, with the appetizers. So it was a good meal over there at Metro Diner after we wrapped up. A really good show.
Now, did you get the extra strawberry butter, or did you just get the?
Extra. What they did for me, they hooked me up. They got that bottle of sugar-free syrup. They warmed it up for me.
Warm sugar-free. Well, that's what they should do.
There we go.
That's what they should do.
So that was good. But no, I didn't feel like I needed extra strawberry butter. I had enough strawberry butter, and it was quite good. And as always, Jonathan and the crew do a great job over there at Metro, and had a really good meal over there, and had a good time, and had a lot better time than Texas A&M softball this weekend because they made the wrong kind of history. There was a record 9 SEC team.
Yeah, so here is
got to the Supers.
You bring up that Texas A&M Liberty. Here is how it sounded.
Get the job done.
Payoff is on the way. Swing and a miss. Game over. Liberty breaks through. It is the unthinkable. It knocks out the number 1 seed. It is moving on to its first ever Super Regional.
So interesting thing here with Liberty. Yeah. Liberty is out of Conference USA.
That's correct.
Jack State is in Conference USA. Jack State beat Liberty in their I believe it was the quarterfinal round of the Conference USA softball tournament. Liberty had to come through the losers bracket just to get the bid from Conference USA. They had to turn around and beat Jack State in the Conference USA championship game. Now, in their conference championship game, it's not a best 2 or 3 or whatever. If you're in the winner's bracket, and if you face the team out of the losers bracket, you don't have to, the losers doesn't have to beat you twice like it is in the regionals and all that other stuff. It's a single still whatever. So Liberty battles their way through the losers bracket in the Conference USA tournament, comes back and beats Jack State in the finals, then gets the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. And then they go on and do the unthinkable and beat Texas A&M. But as you mentioned, 9 SEC teams get in. Auburn came all the way through the losers bracket.
They did the really hard thing to do. They were in Tallahassee. They lose the first game to South Florida, which means you have no margin for error. And they pushed Florida State to the what-if game.
They did.
And so
they beat Florida State in game 1 of that series, and then turned around, though, and ran out of gas.
4-0, but still, what a run. and
and
new coaching staff. We'll talk to Bryan Mathews about that. New staff's first year, and the Malveaux, and wow, I mean to push Florida State, a team that good, to the what if game. That's very hard to do when you lose game one, and they did that. And so kudos to Auburn on a great run that ended just short, but really good weekend for the SEC. Unless you're an Aggie, and again, just one of those things. Liberty's really good, and I couldn't help but point out to some of these Bama fans.
I saw that I saw it on Twitter
about how embarrassing it was when they lost to Liberty earlier in the season. It's called you have no softball IQ. You're dumb as bricks, and most of you are cowards who hide behind burner accounts that can't even put your name on something. So go away. And one of them got blocked.
And that would be probably the one that questioned Patrick Murphy's reign there in Alabama.
Yeah, he said he would never win another regional in Tuscaloosa. Of course, he said that before the regional even started, and then looked like the dumbass that he is. And so then he got rightfully blocked because he's also plagiarizing Bray Hubbard by putting Bray Hubbard's name on his account, which is embarrassing because he probably didn't know who Bray Hubbard was 12 months ago. He just saw number 18 in the game, made a couple of plays, and decides he's a Bray Hubbard fan. Guy's a clown.
Alabama.
Come get some if you want it.
Alabama does get by.
You're not a Bama fan. You're an idiot.
They do win their regional. They are off to the super regionals. And in the past, it would be a SEC, Big 12, so to speak, super regional. But instead, it's an SEC on SEC super regional. You're going to get that when over half of the field it's from one conference. But Alabama and Oklahoma will face each other in the Norman Super Regional. That'll begin on Friday at 4 o'clock, and you can watch that on ESPN2. It'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. And then you've got Georgia and Florida. They will face each other from the Gainesville Super Regional. That, too, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. And then Ole Miss and Arkansas will face each other. So the SEC is guaranteed now at least 3 teams in the College World Series because you got those 3 facing off against each other.
So they'll get at least half.
And then the other SEC, Texas will take on, I believe, Clemson in their regional. And then Tennessee will take on Nebraska. South Carolina will take on UCLA. And those are your SEC teams that'll be into super regional play.
Yeah, it's some good stuff, man. But I know we've got Brandon waiting to join us on the phone lines, and I know he's probably excited about that and a lot of other stuff that went on this weekend.
I'll tell you. Yeah.
Talking to y'all about.
Yeah. Let's get that break in right now. It's 7:32. When we come back, we'll go out to the phone lines. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Impact Team, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. A mostly cloudy sky expected for this Monday night. Low temperatures falling into the lower 70s. Heading into our Tuesday, though, a Fox 54 Weather Impact Alert Day has been declared for strong to severe thunderstorms to develop Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night. High temperatures warming into the upper 80s for the afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
This spring, bloom into savings at Owen Home Appliance Center with a new shipment of scratch and dent items at the Somerville location, like a side-by-side refrigerator with water and ice, just $6.99. Or head to the highly interactive location in Lacey Springs to get the latest in appliance tech. It's garden and grilling season, so you're going to need that 21 cubic foot upright frost-free freezer for just $7.99 at Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service only at Owen Home Appliance Center, Somerville and Lacey Springs.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa, starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond on a Monday morning, 256-576-4977. You can join us on the phone lines as we jumpstart a new week. Let's visit the phone lines. Brandon with us on a Monday. Good morning, Brandon.
What's up, Brandon?
Just trying to figure out if that music was from Tom Abraham's Prom or what we were getting it from.
Well, it's called Texas A&M Goodbye.
Well, you were saying earlier, and people need to realize this, I believe Oklahoma softball won like 47, 48 games. Liberty won 50.
They're good. They're very, very good. I mean, they when losing to Liberty is no slouch. I mean, they've been good in softball for a while now. It is harder on the mid-majors to win in regionals and, of course, even to get to supers and have a chance. But, I mean, they earned it. They matter of fact, A&M was lucky to beat them the one time they did. It was 14-11. So it's not like, Liberty didn't compete hard all 3 games. It was not a fluke. Liberty won it. Texas A&M was their first time ever being the number 1 overall national seed. And, of course, as you know, because of weather, they didn't get a chance to try to win the SEC tournament in Athens, Georgia. But and A&M, they had a great regular season, but they just, they ran up into a hot opponent. And give Liberty credit, man. And now here's the crazy part. I think I didn't stay up to see the completion of it, but Stanford and Oregon were playing.
Oregon won that on a walk-off run. So Oregon will host Liberty in that super regional.
See, here's the crazy part. If Stanford had won it, Stanford at one time was up 7-3. If they had won the game, there's a good chance Liberty would have hosted because Stanford can't host. I think their facilities are being worked on right now, so they wouldn't have been able to host. Liberty would have gotten a chance to host a super regional, but credit Oregon for coming back and winning on a walk-off. When I went to bed, it was 7-5. The Ducks were trailing, but
Oregon hit a walk-off home run there to win it.
Yeah, that's what happens
when you look at that.
Go ahead, Brandon.
When you look at that bracket and you look at who all everybody played, like in Liberty's bracket, you had A&M, Marist, and St. Francis, and then Florida had Mercer, Florida Atlantic, and Georgia Tech. None of these regionals, if you're just looking for big names, had a lot of killers in them. I mean, if you look at the Fayetteville regional, Arkansas played Oklahoma State and Indiana, but they're really the only one that played who, I guess you'd say, Power 5 teams in their regional. The rest of these teams, when you're looking there, like Omaha and Boston and Cal was in Oklahoma's bracket, and then Nebraska played LSU, Southeastern Louisiana, and UConn. I mean, you got to know some stuff about these teams before you just go spouting off that they're not any good because they don't have a big name. They're not a Power 5 school. There were some good teams in those regionals that you had to go through, that some of them were smaller teams.
Yeah, and the key for a lot of these mid-majors when they get into the softball regionals is just to win that first game. Because depth-wise, pitching-wise, lots of times they don't have the depth of the bigger schools. And so if you can stay out of the losers bracket, stay into the winner's side, it makes life a little bit easier for you. And that's why you see some of these upsets sometimes.
And I wanted to say this because I know this will be up for you guys. So a friend of mine, he, like me, Rich, does a lot of barbecue. He calls me and he says, man, Gibson's just won their 13th first place finish.
Yes, they did.
The World Championship of barbecue. And
they did that over. They did that over in Memphis over the weekend or whatever, and Big Bob Gibson's was over there, and they are no stranger to that competition. They are no stranger to the national competition and stuff, and they even did a cooking demonstration at one point this weekend in front of the audience and the fans over there in Memphis. It's a heck of a time to go over there. If you've never been over there to witness it, it's pretty cool.
Now, where's the closest location of Gibson's to y'all?
Decatur is the only one that's left.
The original Big Bob.
That's the only one that's around. And that is the one that does all the cooking competitions. We used to have Gibson's here, and then we used to have
a smaller one.
And then there used to be one on Jordan and whatever that was like a relative of Gibson's or whatever, but it was,
all those are gone.
Yep.
Well, we'll have to get over there sometime. We'll have to figure out how to get the show over there one day, get them to do a cooking competition for you guys, and I might try to slide in the back door.
I mean, it's really good. I've eaten at Big Bob's over there in Decatur. Most people that have lived around here have at least one time. I mean, they're an institution there.
They're the ones that really kind of started the white sauce.
Yeah,
the white barbecue sauce.
Well, I imagine they probably got some pretty good brisket and some pretty good chicken. So
they got it all. I can tell you that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's good. It's good. The ribs are really good.
And you were saying about Jack State earlier. About 70% of the graduation parties I've been to in the past 3 weeks are people going to Jack State, even from over here in Georgia.
Yeah.
That place is highly on the rise. And I guess it's become the alternative to Kennesaw State because I said, look, some of y'all got to go to Kennesaw. Some of y'all got to go to Jack State. We got to have some natural rivals that talk trash to each other. And I guess when you look at the tuition, the going to Jack State is a little more friendly than going to Kennesaw at this time. At least that's what I'm drawing from it. But I'm glad to see that with this realignment of the conferences, we're finally starting to see some natural rivals form. And it's going to be very interesting sliding down there, watching some stuff at Jack State next year when they have to face off against Kennesaw. Very, very much looking forward to seeing that, and looking forward to getting out to Athens and checking out some of this barbecue sometime this summer. So gentlemen. Roll Tide. Have a great day.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you holding.
Big Bob Gibson's won the pork shoulder category there at the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest in Memphis. By the way, it's their 13th first place finish in the shoulder competition. So they know how to cook a shoulder or two.
They really do.
Little pulled pork. Oh, that sounds good, does it not?
Yep.
Little pulled pork sandwich right now, a little white barbecue sauce.
Went to Jersey Mike's last night, tried the other Italian with the sweet hot relish. Wasn't nearly like the nuclear winter that I went through eating the extra hot honey chicken that I'll never eat again.
7:45 Monday morning. I tell you what, let's stamp a break in here. When we come back, phone lines back open to you, and we'll throw in some football conversation and other stuff. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up. Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. If you're planning a holiday or a birthday party, Full Moon has a large banquet room. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Just call us and we'll take care of everything. 256-713-0070. Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco. The best little pork house in Alabama.
It just works. Picture this. You're at home doing whatever it is you do. Then the power goes out. Then what? Well, at my house, life goes on. We have a Generac automatic home standby generator from Current Electrical and Generator Services. For your home security and peace of mind, get a free personal consultation on how a Generac automatic home standby generator can protect you. Current Electrical and Generator Services. Call or visit us on the web at HuntsvilleGenerators.com. You've got the power.
When the biggest names in aerospace, financial services, and electronics needed office and manufacturing space in Huntsville, they called Samples Properties, and they've been doing it for over 40 years. When Huntsville first began to grow, so did Samples Properties. You can trust your business to Samples Properties and their deep knowledge of the commercial real estate market in Huntsville and Madison. When you're in the market for commercial real estate and you need a partner who knows how to make your plans come together, Samples Properties can guide you through all the legal, financial, and regulatory hurdles. And if you just need office space to start or grow your business, Samples Properties is the call you need to make. Go to samplesproperties.com to see the impressive list of clients that have profited from the knowledge and integrity of Samples Properties. For commercial real estate development and consultation, trust your business to Samples Properties, with offices on Madison Street in downtown Huntsville. Samplesproperties.com.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Corralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day, Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at $5. Corralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says because Try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title, because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal. And we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beaves likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Coming up at the top of the hour, Bryan Mathews will join us. We'll talk a little Auburn softball and get you ready for Auburn baseball at the SEC tournament. Coming to the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk a little Alabama baseball, maybe some Alabama softball. Will Miller will join us as we kind of set the stage there. Alabama didn't play the Blue Wahoos. They didn't play the Wahoos this weekend either.
Wahoos is Virginia, the University of Virginia. They call them the Cavaliers, but they are referred as the Wahoos. Virginia Tech is the Hokies. A Hokie is a turkey. Just thought we'd educate some folks on that.
Oh, other stuff kind of going around. That was really the biggest thing college-wise going on this weekend. The other one is we've been kind of following the basketball transfer portal, and I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if there's anything to make of it, but there is one guy that a lot of people are still kind of wanting to know where he's going to go. Desmond Claude, the USC transfer, is out on the market. And obviously, he was supposed to visit Alabama, but Drew, what is this? He was supposed to arrive, I believe, yesterday, but his trip is being pushed back a little bit. Do we know why?
No, there's not been a reason given. But there is a dead period coming up by the middle of this week, and so. By Wednesday for about 10 days, May 21st through June the 1st. So, now, which means he won't be able to visit or really communicate unless he initiates that contact with any schools, but it still wouldn't be able to visit. I think, he would just be able to talk to via Zoom or text to some coaches. But again, he won't be able to visit any campuses, by Wednesday on the 21st of this week. So we'll see. I mean, he was supposed to visit on Sunday. The University of Alabama got pushed back. The way these things work, sometimes they say they're pushed back and then the guy shows up 24 hours later, so we'll see. Could show up on Monday, could show up on Tuesday. I know Gonzaga's had some interest in him, and there was an article on Athlon Sports yesterday about Gonzaga feeling better now that they might get a visit out of the young man. But we'll see. It kind of came out of nowhere that he was going to visit at the end of last week when they said it was being set up for Sunday. So you were wondering if he was going to be on campus. Then it was reported by Joe Tipton of On 3 Sports pretty early yesterday on Sunday that the visit was being pushed back. So we'll see. Certainly he's one of the more high-profile guys left.
Right. Boogie Flam would probably be the other one.
And he's going to visit Florida before the end of the dead period, which means probably today or tomorrow. He's going to be in Gainesville. And I would imagine he's probably going to go ahead and commit. I mean, Mike Miller's his agent, former Gator. They need a guard pretty badly. They decided to pass on Desmond Claude because a lot of people thought Claude was headed to Gainesville. And if that had happened, perhaps Boogie Fland visits Alabama. But I've always thought Alabama was a long shot with Boogie Fland, even though they recruited him very heavily the first go-round. we'll see on Claude. Like I said, could he wait until June 1st and decide to make his decision? I mean, yes, in theory, because summer school starts in June, but again, he's not going to put himself behind the 8 ball waiting that long. It may just be that he's still mulling his options over. But I still say, Alabama's 2 best bets are probably Desmond Claude right now and Keontae Jones. We haven't heard much out of Jones. I heard over a week ago that was 90% done, but nothing was ever announced. So just a little bit interesting the way some of these processes get played out. But I still say to watch Desmond Claude, watch Deontay Jones, and until I guess you could say, if you wanted to put it out there, you could just monitor the Boogie Flan situation. But I've always felt like that was an extreme long shot. And I think, it's been reported by Jeff Goodman and a lot of people that the Gators would be at the forefront if he came back and he backed out of the draft process, which he did because the combine ended yesterday.
Yes.
And the deadline to remove yourself from the NBA draft process is May the 28th. So, but I think Boogie, if he can work out the financial details with Florida, I think that's very likely where he's going to be, and he'd be a good fit for their system.
All right. Monday morning, it's Talking Ball. Again, we're live from Bill Penney Toyota, hanging out here in the service department. Don't forget, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5, they can service your vehicles. You can find them as well. You can also find us on the phone lines, 256-576-4977, as we just kind of do a little housekeeping here on Monday, just kind of getting you all set from what was a weekend. The good news is the Atlanta Braves do end the weekend a game over 500 as they were able to take 2 out of 3 from the Boston Red Sox on the road. But the biggest thing surrounding the Braves is Craig Kimbrell. We're still keeping an eye on what he's doing in the minors. He went back-to-back for the first time over the weekend, I believe on Saturday night and Sunday night. He averaged a season high 94.4 miles per hour. The 13 four-seamers he threw last night, that was on Sunday night. Drew, we could see, maybe, I don't know, possibly Atlanta add Craig Kimbrell, Strider, and Acuna later this week.
Be good. The Braves gave one away on Saturday with a complete, utter bullpen meltdown after they wasted Grant Holmes' really good start. He gave him 6 good innings, and they proceeded to throw up all over themselves in the last 3 innings, especially Montero, who they should probably just cut. When they get Craig Kimbrell, they got him from the Houston Astros. Now we know why Houston didn't want him anymore. He's been, awful, and then Austin Bummer hasn't been much better in my opinion. Talking about a bum, but he hadn't been very good out of the bullpen from the left-hand side. So, but you need situational lefties. So I'm sure Bummer, maybe he'll snap out of it there. But Montero, he's just brutally bad. But they did find a way to win 10-4. And Schallenbach, I thought, threw really well, except for 1 inning. He gave them 7 innings, only 81 pitches. And you take into account in the 3rd inning, he gave up a grand slam to Devers, but really continued to compete hard. And their starting pitching's really been good.
Yes, it has.
Elder they had to send down because the relievers were out of options. But Elder's pitched well also. And so if you get those 3 studs back too, Braves are now back 1 game over 500.
Yep.
And they just got through playing 17 games in 17 days. So finally get a day off, and then you get the Nats in town. Or excuse me, on the road.
On the road this time, yes. All right, we've got to get a break in. Bryan Mathews will join us. We will look at Bryan Mathews. We'll talk some Auburn stuff coming up next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
Kyle Larson, the plus 550 favorite to win the Coca-Cola 600 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway on Sunday. He's also 18-1 to win the Indy 500 as he attempts the double. Denny Hamlin plus 650, Tyler Reddick 7-1, All-Star race winner Christopher Bell 7-1, and William Byron plus 750 to win the Coca-Cola 600. Alex Palou is plus 550 favorite to win the Indy 500. Pato Award is 6-1. And rookie Robert Schwartzman, the shock pole winner, is plus 650. Scotty Scheffler wins the PGA Championship. He's plus 250 to win the Charles Schwab Challenge this week at Colonial. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Hour 2 of Talking Ball underway. SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center kicking off hour number 2. Again, 256-881-5151 or sportsmedalabama.com. You can hook up with some of the best, if not the best, orthopedic specialists in North Alabama. It's SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. We talked on hour 1. We kind of ran down the SEC baseball tournament bracket. The Auburn Tigers, they will play on Wednesday. They will await the winner of 14th seed Texas A&M and 11th seed Mississippi State, approximately 8 a.m. on Wednesday.
8 a.m., but it won't be 8 p.m. It'll be 10 p.m.
You think it'll be 10? It'll be late.
It ain't going to be a.m.
And then Auburn softball pushed Florida State to the brink yesterday. Could not overcome having to beat the Seminoles twice there in regional action. And then Bruce Pearl will actually meet the media today again. We heard from Bruce over the weekend. He'll meet the media again today. So we'll see what maybe Bruce has to say ahead of time. But a lot of stuff to get through with our good buddy.
Yeah, Bryan Mathews since 2001 covering the Auburn beat. He's with the Auburn Rivals, which is, of course, he's been with them for many, many years and done a great job with auburnsports.com. And we're going to talk a little bit of Auburn baseball right now. Is they had a tough weekend in Oxford, so to speak, but the comeback, the underlying the theme for me is being down 8-3 on Saturday, coming back winning 13-8 is, I think, monumental. Because I think it puts Auburn in a very strong position. They may already have locked up a top 8 national seed. And if not, then I think one win in Hoover will do so. But I thought avoiding the sweep was huge. And we're going to talk about that and more with Bryan right now. Bryan, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Morning, Bryan.
We're good.
We love seeing you.
Love seeing you. Hey, but am I wrong though? Because look, I mean, we talked to the Brad Logan of Ole Miss. He covers their beat, and he thought that Auburn would take 2 out of 3. He thought they were just playing better baseball. Ole Miss kind of shocked me with how well they played the first 2 games, but I thought that comeback on Saturday for Auburn, because you didn't want to get swept and put any doubt in the mind of the committee when you're trying to be a top 8 national seed. And I think they may have already locked it up, but at worst, I think one win in Hoover gets it for them.
Yeah, and the last 2 times they've been down 0-2 in a series at Georgia and at Texas, they had lost that final game and gotten swept on the road. So I thought that was big for them. I thought Thursday night they played one of the worst games of the season. They got picked off base twice, hit batters, wild pitches, an error led to 4 runs, 11 strikeouts. Just really played poorly in all phases, I would say. And a lot of that second game was the same way. You got off to a really bad start, fell behind again, but they managed to fight back and score 11 runs, but still lose 15-11. And then game 3, you kind of shaking your head. Auburn's down 8-3, and then they really fought back. And the difference was Ryan Hetzler. He came in the 4th, I think it was, and threw 5 innings, allowing just 1 run. He was the one Auburn pitcher that was able to kind of quiet down Ole Miss's bats, which were hot all weekend, and that allowed Auburn to score 10 unanswered runs and win that series finale.
Mm-hmm. How important was it, Brian? I mean, you're going to Hoover. You don't play till Wednesday.
Yep.
I mean, this kind of sets up, I guess, mentality-wise, like a midweek game, because, I mean, you play so many midweek games. Usually you can play them on Tuesday or you play them on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you would have to think that sets up a little bit of confidence going into an unknown opponent on Wednesday.
Yeah, Mississippi State or Texas A&M, I believe it'll be. I've spent a lot of late nights at the Hoover Met, so I'm prepared to do it again if I need to.
That's what we were saying.
Yeah, it does look like it's a good report as far as the weather this week. So the weather delays usually really cut into it, and maybe without that, it'll be a more sensible first pitch time Wednesday evening. So we'll see how that goes.
Over under on the 8:00 start time.
Whoa, I'm going over. I can't imagine that being 8 o'clock. I would be thrilled. I might dance a little jig in the press box if that happens. That'd be great.
Yeah, or bring you some Uncle Keith and give it to him.
That's right.
That could be a late night.
I said 10. I'm being 10 p.m. because I'm like you. I've been through it so many times. So. I mean, and then there might be 2 extra inning games. I mean, you just never know. But I think I do. But I will say, how do you think Butch is going to approach this? Because I think they're a lock to host. We know that. And they may even already have locked up a national seed. Is he going to approach it? Is he going to try to get some innings out of his midweek guys early and then set his rotation? Or do you think he'll use a rotation guy since he got a bye? In your mind, you've seen this team all year. How do you think Butch will approach this from a pitching standpoint?
I think he'll have a midweek approach on Wednesday. I just think he's would be concerned about moving any pitchers up. Sam Dutton has struggled his last 2 starts, and after the game Friday, Butch talked about Samuel, the LSU transfer, throwing more innings than he has in his career, and that may be having an effect on him sort of hitting the wall here the last 2 starts for him. So you would think he's either going to rest him this week or be sure to give him a full rest and be more careful with how you use him, because you want him back being one of the best pitchers in the SEC. For the start of the NCAA tournament. And I do agree with you. I think it's very possible Auburn's already got a national top 8 seed. Their when I checked yesterday, I haven't looked today, but still the number 2 RPI yesterday, still the number 1 strength of schedule yesterday. So that's a strong, hey, we need to be in the top 8. Doesn't mean they're going to, I'm not saying they're guaranteeing it or anything, but I think there's a chance they've already secured that. And I've found in my time covering baseball that the SEC tournament or the basketball tournament doesn't necessarily have that big of effect on what the committee has already done in preparing for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, well, I've heard that complaint before.
Yeah, well, with that sense, though, and take that into this year's SEC baseball tournament where it's single elimination for everybody, right. Something that is kind of different. How do you think then that has an effect, or will it have an effect on Butch Thompson's mentality going in on how to treat this SEC baseball tournament?
Well, I think if they can get past game 1, they get a day off, and then they would have to come back Friday and play I think it's LSU, if I'm not mistaken. Don't have the bracket in front of me. So I think if that happens, they'll throw one of their guys Friday and see how it goes. Auburn has not won the SEC tournament since 1998. So that's a good bit of time. So I think if the opportunity presents itself, they'll go for it. Although I'm still not sure if they're going to use Samuel Dutton at all, just to be careful with him. But other than that, see if some guys can step up. Right? That's what the SEC tournament's about. Is guys maybe coming out of nowhere and throwing 6 or 7 innings that you don't expect. On a Saturday late night or something. So we'll see if Auburn can pull one of those off.
Well, and then in that case too, when that happens, sometimes it can lengthen your bullpen for the regional, which is a positive.
We saw that with Hetzler, at Ole Miss, right? Was able to lengthen the 5 innings, which is, he's been Auburn's closer all season. Sometimes 1 or 2, maybe 3 innings, but he hasn't pitched 5 all season, so that was really big for Auburn and him.
And they did get some good news. Ike Irish, man, what a season he's had. What a career he's had with Auburn. But he's a Golden Spikes finalist.
Yeah, not surprised. He has had a great season. If I'm not mistaken, in SEC play, he leads the SEC in average and home runs. I think he's batted .398 in SEC play with 13 home runs and 33 RBIs, 8 doubles. That's incredible against SEC competition, if you ask me. Chris Rembert, .376 with 6 home runs and 8 doubles in SEC play for a true freshman. Also, just an incredible, 30 games or almost 30 games for both those guys. So, Ike Irish has had a terrific junior season, really led this team. And, this lineup that we talked about a lot over the past, 10 weeks or so, I feel like the last 2 weeks has really, really come together. It's really producing a lot of quality at bats and quality runs.
And besides just trying to maybe rest Dutton because of workload, and as you said, he transferred from LSU. He's never thrown this many innings before. He's been Auburn's Friday night guy pretty much for the majority of the season. Yep. Are there any other injuries for this Auburn team right now? How healthy are they going into Hoover starting on Tuesday?
Seem to be really, really healthy. I think the one thing to watch is shortstop. Derek Fabian's been a little inconsistent, right? Got off to a really good start this season, but not as good in SEC play. And then Eric Snow has been, along with Irish and those freshmen, one of Auburn's hottest hitters for the last couple of weeks. I think he got the start in shortstop on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So that's one to watch just to see if maybe that's a move they make a little bit more permanent. And we see a little bit more of Eric Snow at shortstop in the SEC tournament and going forward.
Mm-hmm. And then in your mind for Auburn, what do they? As you said, they've definitely locked up hosting. They want to be a number 1 national seed. It's I think for Alabama it's been 2003 since they won it. It's been a long time for either Alabama or Auburn. What has Butch's approach been usually in your mind with the SEC tournament? Some coaches don't put a lot of emphasis on it. They just want to rest some guys, or they want to line up their pitching for a regional. How do you expect Butch to approach this week?
I think he's going to make sure that he is lined up as best as he can for a NCAA regional. I think he realizes that's the most important thing.
Right.
But I think a lot of time, and I think most coaches in the SEC tournament do this, and then they get into it and their team gets going and they just find a way to pull it out. I don't think a lot of teams go into this SEC tournament unless you're playing on Tuesday, saying we got to win this thing. So and I think there's a huge advantage for those top 4 finishes too, to not have to play until Thursday or Friday and just have to win 3 games, in 4 days. I think that's a big advantage for those teams. So I think it's a little bit tougher for anybody that didn't finish top 4 in the SEC.
And this is where, though, the last few seasons, Auburn baseball, this is where they kind of come alive, though, is in these postseason tournaments. Yeah. Does this team have everything in your mind to make that deep run? I'm not talking SEC tournament run, but I'm talking, regional championship, maybe super regional appearance and beyond?
I think they've got the lineup to hit their way to, a championship for sure. I'm concerned about the pitching now. Samuel Dutton with his 2 tough outings here, the last couple of starts. The rest of the guys, have been a little inconsistent. Chatterton had a nice run there. He went about 23, 24 innings or so without giving up a run, but he's been hit pretty good his last 2 starts. They've struggled to find a number 3 starter there. Cam Tilley has been that guy and will probably be that guy if Auburn advances to Friday. But he's sort of hit a wall, usually when he gets into the 3rd, 4th, 5th inning. So we'll see if some guys can step up. But that'll be the area to watch is Auburn's pitching staff and see if they can have some guys step up. That's what's got to happen in the postseason for teams to make runs.
Well, and I know you're Caleb Jones does a great job for you guys, and he had full coverage of that regional over in Tallahassee. But the Malveaux, what a way to end the season. I mean, we talked about it to kick off the show, but when you lose the first game to South Florida and have to fight your way through the losers bracket, yet you're able to force the what-if game, all in all, I thought it was a really good run this weekend for Auburn softball and a good first year for a new staff.
I did too. I mean, for them to advance to the regional final and then beat Florida State once for the roster they had, I think that's a team that's improved over last year, and a team if they can bring in some good pieces, including a legitimate SEC starting pitcher, can make some waves next year. So I think it was a nice start for them, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for that program and see if they can bring in a little bit more talent.
And then we know Auburn had their first big official visit weekend this past weekend, bringing in a lot of Hugh Freeze's and the staff's top targets. I know you had a chance to speak with a couple of those guys, but what's the overall vibe and feel for that weekend for Auburn football as Hugh Freeze tries to put back-to-back top 10 classes together?
Yeah, I was over there Sunday. I got to interview a bunch of them that came out. 2 5-stars, another 3 top 100 players, 6 more 4-stars. So it was a really talented baker's dozen there. I think it went well. We're in the first week of official visits, so I'm not expecting anybody to come out and commit right away. It's kind of the opposite of recruiting out of the portal, where you want to get that first visit in, and sometimes you can lock kids down right away. Most of these players are going to take 4 or 5 visits, see everything that has to be offered, and make their decisions in July and August. And I think that's what we saw with all those guys that come in. But I think Auburn did a very good job. I think guys like Derek Cooper and Jay Lamar, 2 really talented running backs, had great visits. I really liked what I heard from Dominic Harris, a really talented offensive line. I know he's just 3-star, but still very talented. Bryce Perry Wright's a defensive tackle. I think Auburn impressed him. Bonnie Cleveland, I believe he's a former Alabama commit, if I'm not mistaken, from Parker, a guy I think Auburn made a real move with. Tank Jones, the number 1 player in the state, that's going to be a really interesting commitment. He can go anywhere he wants to in the country. I think Auburn got the first shot. We'll see how that goes. He's got some big visits coming up down the stretch. So those are a few of the guys that I talked to. I am interested in what you think. I've kind of noticed, among Auburn fan base, I guess, people who follow recruiting, there's just not a lot of excitement right now for football recruiting. I wonder if you're seeing that in Alabama, across, just the interest, the phone calls, I just wonder how much NIL and the transfer portal is kind of, cutting into the interest there was maybe 4 or 5 years ago in football recruiting. What do you guys think?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I've talked about this with other people in the media that I respect, that we exchange information. I don't think there's any question, Brian, that it has affected how much you talk about recruiting. Because when I first got into this business in 2015 full time, we talked a ton of recruiting all the time, 365. We don't really talk about it nearly as much now. And I think I told somebody, I basically talk about the kids that commit. I don't even follow the process anymore of all the visits, because it can change at the snap of a finger, or they might commit and then flip within a week. It just, to me, there's not as much interest. It's not as much fun to follow the process anymore.
Yep. I think that's exactly it. It's transactional now in some respects, not completely, but that's a big part of it. And then because you have that transfer portal now, even if you sign all these great players, they may not be there next year. Now, I will say I did write about this in my musings, which I'm going to put out shortly, that Auburn has done a good job of retaining their talent from their top classes so far. It's only been 2 classes, so we'll see how it goes. But I do think there's a waning interest there, and I do think if you're Auburn and you've suffered through 4+ years of tough, seasons.
Yeah.
It's been that talent deficit that's been the biggest issue, and that is changing in Auburn. So I feel like there should be some more excitement for the group they came in. If this group would have come in at Auburn 5-10 years ago, people would have been ecstatic. It would have been everything we talked about for weeks.
Well,
Yeah,
and Brian, I mean, Hugh kind of alluded to that at the Regions Pro-Am before he was playing golf, to the fact that, hey, look, when he got there, I mean, the 4 recruiting classes before he got there altogether were not good.
Yep.
And I mean, he walked into a situation that was really talent poor, and he's had to try to build that up. I mean, you can't do it overnight. You can't go out and, not like 30 years, 40 years ago, where you can recruit 60 people and bring it all in and redo your class. I mean, it was going to take time.
It definitely was. And, he had the approach right away that he wanted to build it through high school recruiting. So maybe it wasn't as fast as you like it to be because the portal's available. But I think he took a step last year with increasing their portal recruiting and the quality of athlete that brought him that way. So I think you're going to see Auburn take a step forward this fall. On Missouri, I got to see it first, but I do think they are poised with the talent they've signed in the 2 classes and the portal group this time around. They're going to be a better team on the football field this fall. They should be.
Well, great stuff, Brian. And again, a great question you asked us to just to get it from the other side as well. So it sounds like throughout the recruiting industry, it's the same thing that we're seeing and hearing about it, man. But thank you, and we appreciate it. Let everybody know how to connect with you, and of course, get some of that Uncle Keith's.
That's right. Check us out, auburnsports.com. Full coverage of the official visitors this weekend. A really talented group. I'll be in Hoover this week for baseball. I'll talk to Butch Tuesday. Have an update on his plans for the tournament and all that, and everything else going to Auburn, auburnsports.com. Check us out. Follow me on socials of BMAT.AU, and of course, give Uncle Keith's Red Sauce a try. I'll have my BMAT Monday musings out here shortly, talking about recruiting and that, and also got a kind of a surprise in the musical area, kind of out of the box thing that I think everybody will enjoy too. So check it out, auburnsports.com.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone rolls along.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The Braves roll into the 2025 season with a singular focus. Bring home the division title and remind the league what Atlanta is all about.
Swung on, driven to left center field and deep. That baby's out of here. Austin Riley. 3-0 to Olsen, and he powers one. Deep right center field to the wall. It's going to fly. It's a home run. Back-to-back homers.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Are they promising you up to 10% growth per year guaranteed for your retirement income? If not, you need a new financial advisor. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 up front or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't work when you're supposed to be retired. If any financial advisor tells you it's too good to be true, they simply don't have the options we do. Call Trajan today, 256-208-9000, 256-208-9000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying roll tide and war eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
You've seen those beautiful epoxy floors in a garage or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we love what we do, and it shows. Visit lifetimeepoxyfloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, 8:25 on a Monday morning. Sun is now shining, little blue skies. Had a little wet start to the morning, but everything now seems to be okay. Again, your high is going to be in the 80s, so make sure you give Talent Heating and Air a call if you need to. And something that'll happen early, it's going to go on this week there with the league meetings, and that is the banning of the tush push. They're going to be discussing it over the next 2 days in the NFL.
If the Eagles had won the Super Bowl, they wouldn't be talking about banning the tush push. It's just totally stupid. It's about as stupid as Angel Reese.
Boy, did that catch fire this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Good
She's soft as butter.
It was just a hard foul.
Exactly.
Get over it.
Get over it.
Oh, that's my take on that.
Overrated ass.
Oh, my goodness. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. And you can join us here on a Monday morning. And I got a kick this weekend, and it was so fun. It was so fun to just kind of pay attention. And Robert Griffin.
The fired Robert Griffin.
Yeah. Well, and he's hired again now, by the way. He's going to be on Fox Sports.
That's what happens. You get fired at ESPN, you get hired at Fox.
But he and Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
He and Kurt Warner were kind of going at it on Twitter this weekend. And Robert Griffin, because Caleb Williams, there's been a lot of stories about Caleb Williams over the last 3 or 4 days. And part of it was that he was not being taught how to watch film in Chicago.
According, who said this now?
Yeah. So Robert Griffin says.
No, I'm just. Was it Kurt Warner or Robert Griffin saying he wasn't being taught?
Robert Griffin says, and I quote: Caleb Williams not being taught what to watch on film weekly by his Chicago coaches last year is a coaching malpractice.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's the NFL doesn't mean that development stops. Well, Kurt Warner was responding that said, I never had a coach sit down with me and teach me how to watch film. I might glean from watching film with them, but no one walked me through it. I watched, asked questions, and developed my own means of prep based on what I need. They ended up going back and forth all weekend, and the summary was that the NFL is not developing quarterbacks like they used to. Like they have been. Like the NFL is just bringing kids in, they're playing them at quarterback, and there's not development going on like there used to be. I think that was Kurt Warner's point.
That's the bigger problem is on the college level.
That's what I was going to ask. That's where it all stems to.
That's where it's stemming from, and they're not getting developed in college. That's the problem. And because when they get to the NFL level, they should already know how to watch film. Okay. They should already know how to do that. That shouldn't be an issue. For when you've seen guys, the true studs come out of college, the Peyton Mannings of the world that understood how to watch tape, the guys that, I thought that Kyler Murray, I know he's been up and down.
Right.
I thought he was he made a nice transition to the NFL. Obviously, to me, he learned how to watch film. I think by the time you get to the NFL, I think you ought to, because the offense, because the NFL has actually kind of been kind of changes some things around.
Yeah,
they've gone more to the spread stuff too, kind of copying the college level. But at the same time, like I said, I don't really blame the NFL level on it. I think it's where in college you're not being developed from the
that
neck
was
up
my
as
whole
well.
point on this whole thing. It was
I think that's
okay.
I think Caleb Williams, he played at Oklahoma and before that at USC for Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley is known as a quarterback whisperer.
Right.
One of these guys who's put a lot of quarterbacks as Heisman Trophy winners in the NFL, and they've had success.
Correct.
But I just think that's each individual QB. And I think moreover, though, I think that it's more of an issue of what's happening on the college level. But I just think Caleb Williams, this is a different case, though. I think Caleb Williams that's on him. He's got to be the one that grinds and gets better. I think sometimes Caleb, he's a freak athlete. I mean, with his mobility and his arm talent and everything. But I think sometimes he maybe, at least what it looks like to me, I'm not sure he's a film rat. And I think that was the thing about Tua Tagovailoa too. Tua has so much natural ability, but if you want to be a great player, a Hall of Fame level player, I think that's kind of what Kurt Warner was talking about.
Yes.
You got to grind and watch film.
That's
all
kind
the
of
time.
that was the whole
stay
point
in the
of all
league.
of this.
Because look, Robert Griffin, he had a great rookie year, got hurt at the end of it, and then basically didn't do much after that. Same way with Vince Young. You have to grind if you want to stay in the league. And Michael Vick is a perfect example of that. He admitted it. He didn't grind the first half of his career, but he did the second half, especially when he came back from the issues with the dog fighting, and he became a different kind of player because he put in the time. And now you see him even coaching.
Yeah, it was interesting to read these two kind of go back and forth, because Kurt Warner played really at a different, kind of played at a different time than Robert Griffin. It was around the era, right? But when Kurt Warner came through, the NFL was a little bit different. They, you were expected to do certain things, and you had to fit that mold. And now it just seems like there's a lot of different changing. But I agree, it's a lot of it with the college quarterbacks not being developed. All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we will talk Alabama baseball. Will Miller will join us on the program. Let's break down some Crimson Tide ball next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Impact Team, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Scattered showers and a few thunderstorms going to be possible heading into our Monday. A few of these could be on the stronger side in the afternoon. High temperatures topping out in the upper 80s. Heading into our Monday night, we'll start a drying out period. Low temperatures falling into the low 70s and will continue to sit under a mostly cloudy sky. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for detail.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penney Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penney perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penney Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penney Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPenneyToyota.com. Bill Penney's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
Here in North Alabama, barbecue is a part of what makes our home so special, and great barbecue from Lawler's makes it just that much better. Since 1978, Lawler's has been serving up their delicious barbecued pork, ribs, chicken, ham, and turkey for generations of family get-togethers. Recognized as the best barbecue joint in Alabama for 2 years in a row, Lawler's is thrilled to share their award-winning barbecue for your next family meal or catered event. Order online or stop by any one of their 14 area locations. Lawler's Barbecue, cooked slow, served fast. By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Everything you need is just a click away.
I screw up sometimes, silly.
Okay, almost everything.
Come on, pal. Tell your fortune.
Log on today. 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN, The Zone.
Sometimes you just get caught up in the
We got people that are out of touch. I can tell you that.
You get caught up in the environment sometimes.
Yeah.
The Braves have reinstated right-hander pitcher Spencer Strider from the injured list. And the reason why I say that, I know we're going to talk Alabama baseball, but the Braves have listed a TBA for their starting pitcher against the Nationals, I believe, on Monday or Tuesday. It's a TBA.
Well, Tuesday, because they're off today after 17 days.
So they've listed. So I guarantee you it's probably going to be a Spencer Strider start tomorrow. But anyway.
The speculation has been he would be Tuesday, the first game of the series.
Yes. Let's talk.
Which I can watch on Fubo.
See, let's talk some Alabama baseball now. They're not on Fubo. They're going to be on the SEC network.
Yeah, you're the one that reminded me Fubo used to be some clothes.
It did. I think it still is.
Our next guest is so young. I don't think he ever wore FUBU. But he's in his first full year as an Alabama beat writer for Bama Central, which is part of Sports Illustrated. Does a great job working for Chris Walsh, who's a veteran in the business. And this young guy has got a lot of talent. He's got a great mind and a keen eye for sports writing. And he will be covering the University of Alabama starting on Tuesday at the SEC tournament in Hoover, Alabama. And we wanted to bring him in after this tough weekend in Gainesville to get his thoughts on where this Tide team is. Have they done enough to host? Do they need to win a game or two in Hoover? And we're going to talk about all that with Will Miller here next on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Will, welcome. You're with Drew and Scott in Huntsville. How are you?
I'm great, guys. Look forward to Spencer Strider bump day tomorrow, and big week for the SEC tournament. It's always such an exciting event. Can't wait to cover it for the third season in a row. It's going to be awesome, guys.
Does the single elimination, all 16 teams, does it enhance it even more?
I think so, because there's that win or die feeling that comes with postseason sports that I think is an inherent part of why everybody loves it. And the double elimination format certainly gave you a lot in terms of matchups and the bracket flipping and other things that now are no longer in play. But I think that it's going to be so interesting to watch the tactical changes and, again, just everybody being included. That's not always the norm. And there is a reason for that in the win-loss record. And you look at Missouri, for example, Alabama's opponent that really had a very difficult go of the SEC schedule overall, that wouldn't have made it in years that are not this year. But the single elimination, I do think that fans who aren't sure yet are going to warm up to it. Obviously, I haven't seen it yet because pitch hasn't been thrown. but I think that it's going to lead to a lot of drama, a lot of tension, and maybe some of that early round stakes that maybe the Hoover faithful aren't as used to seeing because of the other format.
And a little bit of frustration only because Alabama was so close. The Thursday game in Gainesville kind of reminded me of the Sunday game in Nashville against Vanderbilt. So close to getting a big win, and then in hindsight would have won the series. They would have taken the first two games more than likely because altering the game one, maybe that affects game two, but I very seriously doubt it because Riley Quick's been throwing well. But I was a little bit disappointed in how they couldn't hold the 5-0 lead once again. Now all that being said, after the dust settles, they still have a top 10 RPI. Their strength of schedule is really good. I was telling Scott in the first hour before you joined us, I don't think Alabama really has a bad loss. I mean, I know they dropped one to Presbyterian, but they won that series. And Mississippi State has turned into, I think, a solid 2. So Alabama's strength of schedule is really good. But in your mind, heading into this week, starting tomorrow at 9:30, is this a situation where Alabama needs to beat Missouri and Tennessee, or how many wins do they need in your mind to lock up hosting, or have they already?
Drew, you read my mind. Another 5-run lead getting blown is in the month of May is not what you want to see, whether you're an SEC team or a team from any of these other leagues in the country. Take your pick. And that's a discouraging statistic to have at crunch time, more or less. I think that they do have to win against Missouri and Tennessee. The Missouri game is so unhelpful. I was talking to Chris about this the other night, how there are probably some teams that, if it were an option, and I don't want to imply that Alabama is one of those teams, but maybe there's some teams that would opt out of playing that game. Like you see teams midweeks for RPI purposes at this point in the season, because it is not beneficial to you to really win that game or lose that game, because losing it hurts you so much more than winning it would, because that's a game. Missouri's 144th in the RPI. That's a game that you play it, and if you come in with the right mentality, certainly a lot of things can go your way. But Alabama kind of came out flat against Missouri here in the regular season last month and ended up giving up a 5 spot in the very first inning of that series, which Alabama ended up getting a sweep. But if you come out and do that again in a win or die game, a lot can change, and not in a positive way. So they do need to win that game, yes, but I don't think that getting that win alone will really solidify the Crimson Tide's hosting prospects. I think they need the 2 wins to get that done, and they could have really made things easier on themselves by winning the series in Gainesville, like I know we talked about last week, which obviously you have to flush that now because can't do anything about it now. But they do still have the ability to lock that in. It's just more difficult than it would have been otherwise.
We say this, and we say that, it'd be great if they could get a couple wins in the tournament and everything. But lots of times, and oftentimes, we see the committee not put a lot of weight sometimes in these conference tournaments. A lot of it is during the regular season. So I guess if you're Alabama, you do hope that the committee does put some thought into what you do during the tournament.
Totally accurate. We recall a couple of years ago when Alabama had an RPI 12, 13, that neighborhood, and ended up winning 2 games in Hoover, and everybody and their mother thought they had done enough before that, and they end up getting the number 16 national seed. And so you look at that retrospectively and think, wow, because they needed every bit of what they got, as it turned out. Sometimes the committee, like you said, can overlook these conference tournaments, which boggles the mind, especially as it pertains to the SEC, because any SEC win in a given year is good. I know I kind of gave the Missouri game a little bit of flack on my last answer, but the reality is you get a win against an SEC team, the strength of schedule that brings, it's going to be, I think, in the long run, a positive for your season if you can string those together. Like if Alabama can win the following game against Tennessee, which they would play if they get out of the first round. But especially when you talk about those teams that go on deep runs, talk about teams that win 3 or 4 games in Hoover or something in that neighborhood and maybe don't lift the hardware. But you would have to think, right, to an objective observer, to media members like ourselves, we would look at that, right? I mean, you guys tell me, and to think that the committee might just say, oh, well, they just went out there and had a little fun. But let's look at, the first 55, 56, 57 games. It does raise some questions.
Well, and Will, I know you're going to get a chance to speak to Coach, to Coach today, Cade Snell and Carson Osmer as well, Coach Vaughn. I'm going to be interested to see how he approaches this pitching wise. I would think maybe we could see a Bobby Alcock against Mizzou, and then if they win that game, maybe you go back to your rotation, with a Tyler Fay against Tennessee. Or how do you think he'll approach it? What as you get ready to meet with those guys at lunchtime today? To me, that's the interesting part, because you still have a regional you want to set your pitching up for, yet you probably are going to need some wins in Hoover to try to host, which is would be a monumental accomplishment.
I think tomorrow it wouldn't shock me if you get JT Blackwood.
There you go.
He didn't really have a great day on Thursday, and part of that is just because he has not really been effective when he's used as a reliever, and some guys are just like that. Some guys are just better starters. I mean, you look at Tyler Fay this year, it's like 2 different pitchers when he's come out of the bullpen versus since he's been in the rotation, and that's just how it goes in baseball often. I know there's those kinds of stories out there, but definitely as a starter is when he's been his most effective. He doesn't work super deep into games. I mean, he's had 2-inning start, 3-inning start. I mean, generally his workload is about 3 innings, and when he does start midweeks or has started midweeks in the past. And if they win tomorrow, I wouldn't be shocked if they do go back to Tyler Fay and go from there. But there are, options. I mean, they could start Vinatieri. They could start Bobby Alcock, who was in the weekend rotation to start the year. Did have that 7-inning shove day against Texas A&M back in March, and he got SEC co-pitcher of the week. So, I mean, with him, it's in there. I mean, I know that the recent results haven't inspired the utmost confidence, but he does have the ability to do it. So, and like I have talked about last week and this week, the single elimination changes so much in terms of tactics that you're going to use. They kind of rode the hot hand 2 years ago with Hunter Furtado, who really came on strong late in the season. And have they really had a guy like that this year? You tell me. I mean, he struck out 9 batters against Troy 2 years ago in the game at Real Field. I mean, I don't know if there's really a perfect comparison to a guy like that this season, but I am really, really interested to see how it shakes out.
And then we know the overall strength of this league. You hope that I've already heard or read some people talk about SEC fatigue because it's such a strong one. And we saw how softball dominated 7 of the top 8 national seeds. But let's be real. The Big Ten, 4 of the top 5 are their Pac-12 transplants. And the SEC, to me, still is far and away the top league in the country. How many do you think deserve to host as you have studied the league now going into the conference tournament this week?
Boy, Texas A&M softball, what an egg they laid last night.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, those message boards. It's probably like a war zone. Obviously, I haven't looked, but I don't need to make that pronouncement. But to get to the main point of the question, I look at these rankings, and obviously, you're going to have SEC teams all at the top of the rankings. And if you're in, the top 4 or 5 of the SEC, you're always going to host. All those teams are probably going to get top 8. I say that you are having Southern Miss, for example. They did go and make a statement at Troy. And
huge. Woof.
I think they are a team that has entered the picture late to be a potential host, detriment of Alabama. Talk about a team that Alabama did beat very handily in Tuscaloosa that's now coming in. And really, Alabama is one of the teams that is hurt. Troy hadn't lost the weekend series, and then here comes Southern Miss, who we know has got a track record of some of these things late in the season. That's one of those teams that, I think if the season ended today, that the committee might look at them and say, you've got a really good coach, some of the best players really in the sport, a couple of them, and give them the nod to host at that ballpark. So I think that teams like that, teams like UCLA, obviously, could make a run. And you never know. Dallas Baptist comes in and runs through the CUSA tournament. They might steal one. So, to me, it's less this year. It's less about how many SEC teams can host and more about, how many of them are going to be or could be knocked out of hosting. And I think that Alabama is one of those teams that really should be on alert for something like that. But in the bigger picture, this league is, obviously going to have some of the lion's share of hosts, and that's going to be the case year after year after year. You mentioned SEC fatigue, but that's how good this league is. That's how much monetary resources are poured into these programs and rosters and coaching staffs to really make them this top flight product. I know people have made the comparisons. The SEC is like basically AA baseball on college campuses. To make it what it is, that's a significant investment, and you certainly see that pay off on the field.
No doubt. And I think those wins over Southern Mississippi and potentially a host like Coastal Carolina may help Alabama if they can get a win or two in Hoover, no question. Well, we look forward to your coverage starting tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Alabama-Mizzou will kick off the week in Hoover for the SEC baseball tournament. Let everybody know how to follow you, man.
Yeah, on Twitter, I'm at RealWBMiller, and that is going to be the home for all of my work throughout this week, throughout the postseason, whatever happens in the stretch run of Alabama baseball. I will have you covered, and like I mentioned, really looking forward to it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Will Miller, kind enough to join us. Let's get this final one in. When we come back, we'll wrap it all up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You've seen those beautiful epoxy floors in a garage or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we love what we do, and it shows. Visit LifetimeEpoxyFloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penney Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penney perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penney Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penney Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPenneyToyota.com. Bill Penney's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It is our tomorrow's headlines today. And I guess, it's still a big headline, and we talked about it briefly right before we went to Will Miller. And in case you missed it, Spencer Strider has been activated off the IL list, and he is expected. Now, it's not been released by the Rays, but he is expected to get the start for Atlanta tomorrow.
Unless there's a small setback, I think they're expecting Spencer Strider to take the bump in Washington against the Nats. And Braves have been playing much better baseball lately. Hopefully it'll continue. They certainly swung the bats well enough in Boston to get a sweep, but they got 2 wins. And so we'll see if they can have some more success. They took the series from Washington last week in Atlanta. They get another shot at them.
Yes, indeed, they do. You mentioned the Braves swinging the bats better. Remember now, they started the season 0-7. They're now a game over 500. But in the past 30 days, their offense is tied with Seattle for 8th in OBP, ranks 10th in homers, 27 in 28 games. And the pitching, by the way, they are 8th in the majors in the ERA department with a 3.30 and tied for 7th in WHIP with a 1.18. So since that 0-7 start, the Braves are 24-16 since that 0-7 start. Just had to dig themselves out of that 0-7 hole.
Well, our good friend Bill Shanks, we had him on Thursday before we went to the ball game, and he did an outstanding job. And he pointed out how good the starting rotation in the bullpen's been. And I now hopefully I haven't been banned from Truist Park since the Braves did win 5-2 and performed well. And AJ Smith-Shawver, who they're trying to get an extra day of rest for, he's been outstanding, man. He was outstanding in that game against the Nats. I think he only gave up 2 hits, and he was dominant on the mound. Braves got good situational hitting. Nick Allen, really like him, the shortstop they got from Oakland. Love Drake Baldwin. He can just fall out of the bed and hit. The guy's a stud.
Yeah, he is. All right, well, we did 1 hour and 50 minutes of a show.
Yes, we did.
gotta have some fun with it.
We knocked it out, man.
We did. We got it all in. We're live from Bill Penney Toyota Service Department on a Monday. We're going to crank it back up tomorrow morning. Everybody enjoy. It should be another beautiful day in the Tennessee Valley. Remember, if you need that air condition fixed, give Talent Heating and Air a call. They've got a lot of talent just waiting to work for you.
It'll be 9:30 a.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning for the SEC tournament tomorrow.
Yeah, all right. See you.
1 in 3 adults in America have prediabetes, but most don't know it. To let people know it can be reversed before it becomes type 2 diabetes, professional basketball player Julius Randle is doing everything in reverse.
I'm only dunking with reverse windmills. I drove the whole way to practice in reverse. I don't recommend it. This move's called the reverse shuffle. I do recommend it. And it took me months to learn how to speak in reverse, like this. Here's 10 almost for diabetes type 2 with living Ben has mom my. In other words, my mom has been living with type 2 diabetes for almost 10 years. So together, we want to say to the 84 million Americans at risk, exercise and healthy eating can help reverse prediabetes. Start by taking a simple 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Bet he can't say that in reverse.
This is Steve Moulton from 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and this is What's Happening. Be sure and download our app. Just search 977 ESPN in your Google Marketplace or your Apple Store, depending on your device, so you can take us wherever you might go. And you can also check out our latest zone deals. Head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. The top left banner reads, "Savings never tasted so good."